step forward, please?
Yep.
Thank you.
Hey Rob, could you kind of describe the emotion of this position change for you, not just for being back in your old role, but given who you're replacing and just kind of how it all feels?
It's been an emotional 10 days, having an opportunity to go and do some other things, and at the end of the day, having an opportunity here. That was the talks that I had with my family over the last 5 or 6 days, and at the end of the day, this to me is where God needs me, for my family and most importantly for the players and the program, and this is where I want to be, and I look forward to doing the very best I can to help Nebraska baseball and be what we're supposed to be, and that's competing to get to a regional each and every year, and hopefully have an opportunity to host ever so often and compete to get to Omaha. We've done that here before, and the expectation is to do that again and be consistent regional contenders, and we got to be at the top of the league each and every year to have a chance to do that.
Can you describe what is different about how you'll be hands-on with pitchers moving forward versus what you were able to do in the role, I guess, that you're still currently in?
Well, before I wasn't able to, coach the swing, coach the delivery. I got to coach hearts and minds, and feel like that's my strength anyway. And now that I get the opportunity to be in the bullpen and hands-on with pitchers, I look forward to that, and then trying to continue to grow the depth and do our very best to keep the in-state kids at home. I know how much the University of Nebraska means to the Nebraska kids, and go into the Midwest when needed, and if we need to go national to get a skilled player or a pitcher, that's what we'll do. That's been the recipe for Nebraska football and Coach Osborne, is certainly one that recipe we took back when I was here before, and we need to focus on again.
Rob, how did the 2 years of maybe kind of a different view of things, how did that maybe help you think, as a coach? Well,
I think it helped me appreciate all the other supporting cast that goes into a baseball program in terms of putting together scouting reports and the off the field stuff. There's so much that goes into it as far as hosting recruits on campus and doing all the office work that it takes to run a program. So I've always appreciated those people, but maybe a little bit more now. So I think that's aided me moving forward, and I'm certainly excited to be back on the road recruiting and on the field.
Obviously recruiting is a big part of it, but once you get those guys on campus, nothing against Coach Christie, but once they're here, what's got to get better about this pitching staff?
It's just really kind of goes back to development and having depth in the pitching staff, and having guys that are dependable out of the bullpen and different options, and we've got to grow the depth. That's the most important thing, and certainly have an identity. And moving forward, we will have an identity of toughness, and our goal of being a pitching staff that's going to lead the conference in fewest amount of walks per 9 innings. And more than anything, it's all about the depth.
Can you kind of describe what needs to get done for you in the first 100 days here when you're in the role July 1st?
Well, right now the transfer portal is open, and so our whole focus is putting together the 24 team, and it's very fluid. It's changing every hour of every day, and trying to put together the best 24 team that we can, and certainly with eyes in the 24 class and the 25 class, we'll take care of that more so when we get to mid-July into August, is focusing on that. But right now it's about putting the best team we can on the field and collecting those players for the 24 team.
How has that adjustment been for you to how the portal is now, maybe compared to where it was when you were at Texas A&M?
Well, it's certainly exploded. And there's not just guys that haven't played a lot at different programs, but it's guys that have been impactful, All-Americans, freshman All-Americans, guys that have proven it at the highest levels going into the transfer portal now. So it's certainly changed over the last 2 or 3 years, and I think we're sitting at over 4,000 in the portal right now, and with another month to go, I would expect it would grow to close to 5,000.
In your previous role, you were pretty limited what you could tell Coach Bolton, tell your players, but now that you have the role, and the fact that Will used to be kind of one of your players, is there an adjustment period, what you feel like you can and can't say to Coach Bolton and all that? Not
at all. I'm here to serve, and that's what I came here for 2 years ago, and that's not going to change. And put our team in the best position to win. I just get the opportunity to maybe do a little bit more on the field in terms of coaching our players, and rather than just having a relationship with them, I get to be in the bullpen with them and in game with them. And I certainly was before, but just not able to coach the swing, coach the delivery, and do all those things. But the relationships, as you know, are the most important thing to me.
Was there a point in the last couple of years when you felt that itch to get back into an on-field role?
Always want to be on the field and in the grease. That's what we all do. We're all competitors, and we want to be in that. But for the last 2 years, it's been good to serve all these guys here that have played for me at some point. They've all coached for me at some point, and to come back and serve them, it's been an incredible honor.
With arm injuries becoming more prevalent, especially at these higher levels, with starting pitchers going shorter, how much emphasis do you place on having an elite bullpen?
Well, you have to have it, and you have to be able to cover up those injuries because every pitching staff in America is going to deal with it, and we'll deal with it this year coming up. We'll have guys go down that are going to get hurt. It's just part of it, and that's why you've got to have depth. You got to have depth in numbers and depth in talent and ability to go out there and throw it over the plate with more than one pitch. It's not just about having 20 guys. It's about having 20 guys that can throw it over the plate and pitch backwards and throw strikes, because you're going to lose 2 or 3 each and every year, 2 injuries, like you said.
Spoke to a commit recently who talked about one of the things that he said, or you said to him, that resonated was mastering the vanilla. Can you kind of expound a little bit on that and what that means?
Well, to me, I've always prescribed to the KISS theory, and the acronym for that is keep it simple, stupid. And in pitching terms, the simpler your delivery is, the more often you can repeat it. The more often you repeat it, the more strikes you throw. The more strikes you throw, the more I'm going to flip you the ball and tell you to go get them today. At the end of the day, that's the most important thing to me. And we are going to have a staff goal of having the fewest amount of walks per 9 innings. But individually, it's important that each and every one of our guys has a goal. And to me, in KISS theory terms, the simple terms is coming in and being 1-to-1 innings pitched to hits, 3-to-1 strikeouts to walks. And if our individual guys can do that, then all the sexy stats that the fans look at, the wins, the ERA, the strikeouts, they're going to take care of themselves. And when you put it in terms to young men, it's like, sure, I can do that. I've been doing that since I was 12 years old. I've always been the best. I've never given up more than a hit an inning. I've always been 3-to-1 strikeouts to walks. I can do that. And to me, I think it alleviates a lot of pressure on kids when you keep it as simple as that.
How long have you known Coach Sirianni, and what does he bring to the staff?
Now, I've probably known Coach Sirianni since he was 14 years old. I got an opportunity to coach his older brother here at the University of Nebraska, and I've just admired his journey from a baseball standpoint. And he's been at every level to the point of being a Division I head coach and moving on to Wichita State as their recruiting coordinator. He is an absolute fanatic on the road recruiting and does a really good job. When you look at the talent he put together at Wichita State, it's a credit to him because he was the one that was on the road and out recruiting those guys. So I'm incredibly thankful that he's here with us, and I know he's going to be a huge impact for Nebraska baseball. I'm thankful he's here.
Maybe it's a little speculation too, but what's the dynamic, do you think, going to be like with 3 full-time assistants, for the first time in a college baseball?
I think it's going to be interesting from a recruiting standpoint, and I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off just having one recruiting coordinator that's got to go on the road and see them all. I think to have 3 guys or really 4 with Coach Bolt be out on the road recruiting at any one time, I think we're going to be able to cover a lot more ground. And again, starting here at home first and foremost, we've got to keep the best in the state of Nebraska at home.
Not asking for too much of an in-depth, review, but looking at the CWS field, do you have a favorite and why?
Well, they're all hot right now. I don't know that you could really pick a favorite. And it goes from all the national seeds that are there to Oral Roberts, who was a 4 seed getting into the postseason. They're as hot as anybody. When they went through the Oklahoma State Regional and knew they were going to go to Oregon, I felt like they had a chance to win it. And truth be told, they probably should have beat them in 2. So all 8 teams are as hot as they could want at this time of year. That's why you play. And so the next 2 weeks ought to be a lot of fun for our sport, and be interested to see who the last team is standing. But there's a lot of quality teams there, and they're all hot, like I said.
Coach, you've talked a lot about development and getting more arms. Is there one thing in particular, as a whole, as a pitching staff, that you think you need to develop a skill or improve on something?
Well, to me, it's about working fast, throwing strikes, and be able to throw a breaking ball or a changeup for a strike and hitter counts. And if we can have a collection of guys that can do that, then we're going to have the depth that we need. And we certainly want to have the balance, and we've always had that here the last couple of years in terms of lefts and rights. But it's about having those guys that are dependable in the bullpen that we can go to and we know what we're going to get. And that just comes from growth, and sometimes it's just guys growing up and developing, going out again for a second summer, having a good summer, coming back with that confidence. I've had a lot of guys go out for their freshman or sophomore year, come back different guys. And that's our hope with a lot of guys that are out right now, that they come back, and hopefully we can add to that with guys that are transferring in. And then our current class, we have some very, very talented high school freshmen coming in here that we expect to come in and pitch as well.
Is there a player on this current staff or pitcher, I should say, that you look at and you say, I need this guy to make a jump in the fall, in the summer here to be successful, for Nebraska to be successful next year as a staff? Is there a player or a group of players you're looking at, I want to see this guy take a step forward?
Well, I mean, right now I would say all of our pitchers, we need them to make a jump and improve and get better. And we've got some very talented sophomores to be and juniors to be and seniors to be that need to go out, have great summers, have fun, pitch on a consistent basis week in, week out, and come back better than they left. And if we do that, we have a chance to be pretty good with the addition of the guys that we have coming in.
Do you subscribe more to the old school or kind of new school way of thinking in terms of, second or third time through the order, maybe not feeling as well, or do you more trust your gut and what you're seeing with your eyes?
I'm going to trust my gut. I want to keep our guys healthy. Usually 100 is a benchmark for a starter if he's rolling. But I'm not going to make a move based solely on where we are in the lineup and feel like we've got to make a change getting back to the top of the lineup third time through. I'm going to go with my gut, especially if a guy's hot. I'm going to ride the hot hand. And, if it becomes a matchup situation, then certainly we'll do that with lefts and rights. But I would say I'm more of a throwback in terms of that. And hopefully we can find 4 guys that can start on a consistent basis that don't want to give us the ball back. That's what we hope.
Thanks, Coach.
Cool. Thank you, Coach.
Thanks, Coach.
Let's go.
Thank y'all.
Thanks, Rob.